Hey everyone, we are on a stretch of road right here, I believe is Hadley, Massachusetts, maybe South Hadley, Massachusetts. There's the nearest road sign right there. Usually I don't give locations to these places, but last time we were here, maybe 2 years ago, I did an inspection of this place a year after reporting it and nothing was done. So at this point, now we're probably approaching 4 years since I first discovered it. I bet you the state of Massachusetts, which this is a state road, they would be responsible, the DOT. I'm giving the location of this place because that's usually, if you just call it in, they don't do anything. But I've realized anytime I publicly show something on my channel, it magically gets fixed. So because I don't think it's done, that's why I'm showing the location of this. So what we discovered in here back 4 years ago, there's a 3-foot culvert down there that's kind of a tight spot to walk, but I got a big light, I want to walk through it. There's a bunch of spots, the ceiling of the culvert has completely given way, and that could create a massive sinkhole beneath this road. And if it goes years and years without being detected, that right here is maybe 30 feet, maybe a little more. Lots of room for a massive catastrophic sinkhole to go years undetected, growing and growing. Sinkholes in this situation will only grow in size when water is passing through it at a large rate. The holes in the pipe will allow sediment from under the road to fall into it. These holes are so big, even gravel fill will be able to get washed out of it during times of high flow. My area today just lost a bunch of snow along with rain. I don't think this area, this point south, had snow, but it definitely had rain. So there's actually flow going in here. The last times we went through here, there was not flow at those times, maybe a little trickle. But the first time we came out here, we inspected this pipe. We also inspected 3 more that are near it, which did not have problems. Now you can see it's a very tight, cramped 3-foot pipe. Last time there was a bunch of black widow friends in there. They are the northern black widows. They're not the southern ones, so it won't put you in the hospital like that. It just leaves a big itchy bump. By the looks of it, I highly doubt they brought any special camera or physically went in here. I bet the issues are exactly the same. And if anyone remembers, years ago I reported the lake drain. I told the DOT this thing is gonna cause problems. It's deteriorating. It's a huge issue. They ignored me. It caused a big sinkhole under the road. They had to shut down that ramp in Palmer for a little bit, use ground penetrating radar. Even the day of it failing, the DOT refused to do anything about it. I actually had to call the news and get them out of there before the DOT would listen to me. Ever since that incident, I don't know if the DOT is watching my channel or not, but anytime I show these things, it magically gets fixed. I think after a $2.2 million repair there, which it would have been a $50,000 repair if they would have listened to my first report. But nope, they let it slide and it turned into a giant sinkhole. Kind of the same situation, but from evidence, this one doesn't often have a lot of water. See, this is about the most water it would have had in a long time, the way it's clumped. There's no erosion to the edges, a big flow. Like, this is built to handle a good amount of water, but by the evidence, it rarely, if ever, happens. But this water here is enough to cause damage. There are some areas in here that may not seem huge, but left unattended, they will become very bad over time. Now this might be a bit of a cramp going through here. I haven't been through such a tight pipe in a while. You can see by even the moss evidence here. See how the moss doesn't go into the water anymore? Because things going by, sediment is grinding it off. Oh yeah, you will see a bunch of exposed rebar on the bottom. Things passing through is like sandpaper grinding down the bottom, but our incident is from the top that may have started it. I think the ground shifting, even big trucks going over the road rattling it, that also could trigger a sinkhole to get a bit bigger. Right here we have a massive fishing spider on the wall, right there. That guy will leave us alone, hopefully. They are pretty jumpy, but it does not want to bother me. Just gonna go by it, Hopefully not to startle it. It wants nothing to do with me. But those guys, fishing spiders and wolf spiders, are the ones known to carry flesh-eating bacteria, although it's rare. Don't want to get that. Right here, we have encountered our first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth dozens of black widows. They also want nothing to do with you. Just want to make sure I don't brush through their nests. Their spider webs very rarely go across the pipe because big animals like me would just keep knocking them down. Lots of animals, including foxes, coyotes, raccoons, use these pipes to get underneath the road. There's an egg sac right there for future black widows. The water is now going so fast that, look at the splashing. I want to keep my legs spread a little bit or I'm going to get soaked. Look at all these black widows. This right here, the joint is coming undone a little bit. Not a problem, because this one here is slid into this one a little bit, so that won't be a problem. Take a look at that. It would only be a problem if you noticed the pipe actually physically moving. That little bit of mortar falling out is not a problem. Take a look at all these spiders. Oh my gosh, there's so many black widows. I have got bit by the northern black widow before. It made my arm swell up a little bit, kind of like a bee sting. But I definitely don't want to go out of my way and get in these guys' way. Oh my gosh. Look at all the spiders on the ceiling. Oh, there's hundreds of them. And these are really big ones. They love these pipes because it keeps them nice and warm. They can survive in here all winter, while the ones outside would have to hibernate or die. Typically only the females survive the winters and hibernate. But in here where it's warmer, who knows? Notice the stress cracks on the ceiling. That's where the damage comes in up here. And right here you see how the water's going a lot faster. Oop, got my butt wet by a splash. Rebar exposed. Because the water's going so fast, destroying the low quality concrete pipe. We've already passed hundreds of the black widows. We have another really big fishing spider right there. We've gone, it looks like not even halfway, and my legs are starting to get sore from this walk. So I better step it up a little bit. Look at all the erosion here. It gets worse and worse because the water's going faster. Oh my gosh, look at the ceiling's about to cave in. Definitely crushed more than it was last time. You see, all it takes, you see the water's not going that fast, but this is built for a huge storm. This concrete's gonna get torn up, start digging holes. If it stays like this, I'll have to find the video of this place from 4 years ago. Progressively worse. Look at this. That's about to start falling. Hopefully nothing falls on my head, little chunks from the vibrations I'm making. This pipe is right here in the top, about to fall in. There are spots that have already fallen in. It's like little hollow caverns. Look at the rebar coming right out. You can already tell this was low quality rebar to begin with. More spider friends. My legs are killing me. I haven't done a walkthrough like this in quite some time. It's such a small pipe. And I'm not that old, but just being a couple years older, I already can feel it a bunch. I see down here the pipes are even slanted a little bit. Groundwater coming out can also help with the erosion. Here we are. Here's the first area where a sinkhole would start forming. You see, you got groundwater coming out here, so the rainier it is, the more muddy that turns, and it kind of slowly comes out like diarrhea and gets swept away by the water. The more water's going by, if this was flowing more, it would keep pulling more and more. and the groundwater helps that. This has got a little worse since last time. See, not super deep yet, but going unchecked. Will only get worse and worse. You see, this water splashing here, getting wet again by touching the fast water. See, very fast. Get wet if you touch it. So, it grinding down to the rebar has created stuff to make it splash around. The splashing around has deteriorated the walls, and it just keeps going and going and getting worse. I'm taking a little break right here while I talk, putting both knees down, resting them a little bit before we go out. This guy's actually kind of cute. Look at this fishing spider. You can even see its eyes. Kind of cute. You still can't see it on the camera, but because of my camera light, its eyes are actually glowing like a cat in the dark. Kind of cute. This is the area of a lot more damage. Goes up pretty far. With the camera light, you can see it goes up maybe 6 feet or so. A little worse than it was last time. Right here, it looks like they actually poured concrete around the outside of the pipe. Maybe a little. It's definitely not the whole length, or this wouldn't be happening. Oh, cramping up bad. Let's get beyond the damage. I don't want to stand underneath that for too long. So this splashing here from the eroded rebar is not only making it worse, but that's what's causing all around damage. Pretty big sinkhole starting up. Oh look, there's another fishing spider. I didn't even see that one. There's the one we filmed, and there's another right there. So many spiders in here. The spiders are the most exciting part of the adventure. It's not an adventure without spiders. Yeah, this is cool actually, all the spiders. But this damage is not cool. Thankfully for the DOT, this culvert, like I showed by the evidence, doesn't run a lot. It's likely built oversized from back in those days. You'll never see Massachusetts oversizing anything these days. It's too cheap. But if this thing ever has to run to the capacity it was designed for, it's gonna keep washing that out, and a major sinkhole will happen quite fast. Thankfully for the DOT, again, the sinkhole will likely happen here next to the road and not completely under it. But as you can see, the rebar damage is going through probably 75% of the lower end of the pipe. So if it does end up happening, if it keeps going neglected, eventually things like this are going to happen underneath the road. Not hard to fix it. They should be inspecting these things like their neighboring Vermont and New Hampshire do, and Maine. Every time they go over and repave the road, they replace the guardrails, give a quick inspection to the pipes. Nope. A lot of Massachusetts doesn't even pave their own roads. A lot of these roads are done by a private company in Palmer, which just does the asphalt. They don't come and check these kind of things. So this ends up happening. All that debris you see in the end there, those big rocks, came out of that little sinkhole there. Walking around this hill could be dangerous. I think I could probably fall through it if I jumped around there a bunch, so we're just going to avoid that. This sinkhole like this could sit here as is for another decade or two without any incident if the water levels stay fairly low like this. There's a trash can down there. But all it takes, like I said, one storm to bring this to capacity, and it will cause problems. And what I'm seeing right now is the ground here may have just been soft and it caused this little slip, but by the ferns and moss growing back, I'd say within the last 10 years this slipped. Did it slip from this blasting through here? I think so, because you see, this side where the water's coming out slipped here, and then when it goes back around snaking, slipped again down there. So I think that tells me every now and then this thing does get up to capacity. The most likely time for this to reach its capacity would be a sudden warm up with a lot of rain while there's a ton of snow on the ground. All those scenarios, tons of melting snow in warm weather mixed with a bunch of torrential rain at the same time, that is when you would get catastrophic flooding, and that's when things like this would wash out. And they do wash out all the time. You always see culverts and bridges failing in Massachusetts, not only because of the high water, but because they are severely neglected here. Haven't inspected this one in a while. Was not surprised they didn't touch it, but maybe now that I showed the location of it, someone will actually come out and do it. During my inspection a couple years ago of Culvert down there, and a couple more down here, one of those is even a 2-footer, but we crawled our way through it. Don't remember any damage in there, so we won't check them again at the moment. I hope today's video was interesting, everybody. Thanks for watching and have a great day.